So Amin walks in here. He just taped Oddball. Follow Oddball. Go to its YouTube channel. Do all that stuff. He hosts with Charlotte Wilder. It's excellent. Amin's here drinking his. What are you drinking?
Water. We don't have any cups.
Oh,
You're not sipping on the tea, huh?
Preciously.
It's good. It's good. Good water. Yeah, Jaylen Brown, oddball. What do you want to talk about?
No, you walk in and you're saying Immaculate Grid. Finally, this has been the thing. We were like, we just established that. We can't talk more Immaculate Grid. We cannot.
I'd love to.
I know you would, but we can't. So I want to ask you an actual basketball question.
Okay.
Because the Jaylen Brown contract is there's not a lot of sports in terms of mainstream American attention that is happening right now.
Sorry, baseball.
But the guy that we're talking about,
WNBA.
Jaylen Brown, mainstream American attention, I said it pejoratively. But in terms of the big three, big story.
This guy hates America.
It's contracts. We're in contract time.
Did you say big three?
I did not.
Yeah,
Not like that.
You did. You
He
definitely
said
did.
big three. I heard.
Do you have news on me in the contract, big three, or no?
I have news on Jaylen Brown's contract.
I did see Ice Cube with Tucker the other day.
Ice Cube, my boy.
I would walk that one back now.
The biggest NBA story right now, the
you meant
biggest
Tucker
big
Carlson.
money story right now in the quote-unquote, scare quotes, big three American sports, quote-unquote, mainstream American sports, is the fact that a dude who cannot dribble with his left hand just signed the largest contract, in the history of the NBA.
Get a new angle. That was Ben Shapiro's.
I hate that you're right about that.
At least got that line off before he tweeted it, but man, did I feel bad. It's the first time we've seen the world the same way. That and Barbie.
What's the question?
What are we supposed to do with this, Amin? Like, you're a smart basketball person who sees things, and I am of various instincts here, right? I want to make fun of Jaylen Brown because he cannot dribble with his left hand. We saw that repeatedly in the postseason. I also want to talk about how, yes, it's unsurprising when the new guy signs the biggest contract ever because that's the trend line of contracts.
Color by numbers. It's paint by numbers. I explain this every time someone signs one of these deals. I have to explain it when Rudy Gobert signed his deal, which was the biggest ever. I have to explain it when Mike Conley signed his deal, which was the biggest ever, because it's all paint by numbers. The maximum salary in the NBA, by the way, the only of the professional sports that has a maximum salary in baseball and football and hockey. If Pablo Torre is the greatest player I've ever seen, and he comes up on free agency, I can offer him whatever I want as long as I fit under the salary cap in two of those sports. But the actual individual number you make, if I wanted to use 100% of my salary cap in the NFL to pay one guy, I could. It would be an awful way to build a team, but I can do that if I value you as such. Basketball is the only one where it's like, no, you can't make more than this. And what this is expressed as a percentage of the salary cap. So 35% is the highest bracket of max you can make of the cap. But the cap, as you said, keeps going up because the cap is based on basketball-related income, which is based on the TV deals, the ticket sales, the merch sales, hot dogs, parking, all that stuff, right? So as long as the cap is higher than it's ever been, the first guy who signs the top max level will always have the biggest contract ever. It doesn't matter whether he's worth it or not. If we didn't have max salaries and we paid people what they were worth, the reality is Jason Tatum would probably be making 60 or 70 million. And so the Celtics would be like, I don't know if I can afford to pay Jaylen Brown because I'm already dumping 70 mil in this guy over here. LeBron might make 80. Steph might make 90.
Sure.
Giannis might make $100 million a year. Like the numbers that we're seeing overseas for soccer players, we see that here. The converse of that is Gabe Vincent wouldn't be making $11 million. And Bruce Brown wouldn't make $20+ million.
The other economic strata of the union, they benefit from the max contract.
We did a video about this. Me and you, remember this? Oh,
yes.
man, I literally just thought about it right now.
I just remembered that
So,
just now.
Years ago, Pablo did a feature on Mike Ryan's favorite point guard. What was his name?
Tyler
Johnson, right?
Who famously vomited upon signing his giant deal thanks to the new CBA negotiation.
You're not going to trot out that old tired observation that I've apologized a million times.
I'm not.
for
I'm just. This is actually about Pablo and this amazing.
Because it seemed like
feature
you were
he wrote.
getting there by
I was just
referencing that he's my favorite.
It was like a drive-by stray. I just and then it kept going, right?
He was one of the first hey, what a great find by the Miami
Yep.
Heat, and there's no way they're overpaying because they can't replicate this.
Actually, not one of the first. One of the first would be like Ike Austin and Vashawn Leonard.
Yeah.
And
well,
those
of the
guys.
modern era.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but anyway, Tyler Johnson signs this deal, this restricted free agent deal with Brooklyn for 4 years, $50 million.
To the point where when I go to his house, I went to his apartment in Miami on South Beach. We played FIFA. I beat him at FIFA. Side note.
Look at me, Louis.
He has, in his house, he has Brooklyn Nets baby clothes that had been sent to him because he had signed the deal and assumed, of course, big money from Brooklyn, he's going to have to go there.
Yeah. And the Heat, I believe, ended up matching, and so he doesn't go. But Pablo writes about, like you said, like the kid was physically ill because he could not believe that someone would pay him this much money.
Tyler Johnson had an out-of-body experience that resulted in his stomach being outside of his body.
So what ends up happening is, I think in your piece you explain how this can only happen in a salary cap sport where also individual salaries are capped. And because you have to spend this much money, and because I can't spend more than the max on this guy, there's all this leftover money that trickles down to the middle class. And that's how Tyler Johnson gets $50 million.
Well, this is the story, too. I mean, about a salary cap, certainly, but what a union actually is trying to do. When we talk about running backs, right, let's connect all of these stories we've been talking about all week. When you talk about running back pay, the solution tends to be, well, they're going to form a union inside of the union.
Right.
And it's like, good luck. That's kind of how the union is right now. There are all these disparate economic strata, these classes, these positional groups that have their own interests. The Tyler Johnsons benefit from LeBron James not making 9 figures.
Right.
And so it's just all of these guys have incentives. Good luck wrangling all of these incentives into one coherent agenda.
Now, my favorite part about the story was we did a video to accompany. This is back when we were big on
my God.
videos.
I'm now
accompanying,
remembering
right?
what about this video.
And so the story of Tyler
so
Johnson, single mom, like in the military, and he had
military
he had
kid.
to work in like
Air Force Base from California.
he had to work in high school in the cafeteria, like with all these rich snobby kids. They were his classmates and all that stuff. And he kept getting hurt and all this stuff. So we did a video of Tyler Johnson, animated dribbling a basketball up a mountain, and like all of these different kind of.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, all these things. And as he gets higher, an arm falls off, a leg falls off, but he keeps dribbling, and then takes off to dunk. And when he dunks on a basket that's made out of money, and that's a max contract. But then as we zoom out, we find out that like the mountain he was climbing was LeBron's back in order to get to that money.
Such a good video.
Oh my God! And they made us take it down.
We never got to publish it.
We published it. They took it down like.
Oh, that's right.
They took it down like 20 minutes later because like it was like, oh, it makes it look like Tyler Johnson is riding LeBron, and
And their chains and money,
Yeah.
and it felt weirdly racial. I'm like, no. Me and Amin were like, this is a trenchant artistic interpretation of the dynamics of an NBA Players Association.
I'll post that video later today.
It's so good.
Yeah, man. That's one of my favorite things I've ever worked on.
Same. And I forgot about it until now. Thank you for reminding me.
One of my favorite, and also the second of my favorite things that I worked on with you that eventually got scrubbed.
Amin and I keep on doing things. There are actually 3 things, Amin, that we've done together.
That got scrubbed?
That either were proposed, had an actual meeting about, that existed briefly, and then got just erased, sucked into the void.
I don't know what the third is. The second was the James Harden podcast, which, oh my God, to this day, I've never potted better in my life.
This is like, I mean, it is kind of like you've never seen Josh Gibson hit a 500-foot home run. The video doesn't exist. This is Amin's Josh Gibson home run.
Oh my God. It was. When I tell you it was like
in your bag.
Oh my God. And everybody, it wasn't just me, it was Pablo, it was Ethan Strauss, and we were just ping-ponging so effortlessly. It was awesome. So he did a feature on James Harden, right? This is when Harden was going out with Khloe Kardashian.
Yes. I went to an AAU tournament where James Harden was with Khloe Kardashian. I was like third wheeling them.
Yeah. So like he writes his feature and said, we're gonna do a podcast to kind of like promote the feature. And so we start the podcast.
Delayed, but
I deserved it.
There was a council meeting.
You guys, you have to vote on it?
Yeah.
We shot it up in the air, guys. Anybody judges?
I did reject it at once. I was like, contextually covered.
It's journalism.
But
yeah,
no, the way that
it's literally
when
a
you said
Kardashian.
I was third wheeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the day we set out to record is the day the Steve Sarkisian thing happens, right? And so we start talking about the receipt came out. And it was like 17 shots of Don Julio and 25 like Miller Lights and then at the end there was like 2 Michelobs or something like that. And I said, who is this ungrateful, this generous man says anything, we got it all. Hey guys, have some of this. Like, I'll order off menu, right? So
You had 2 Michelobs.
So we joke about this, but then we start talking about like low key. It's not really I might have pressed the wrong button there. Low key, it's not really talked about.
Did you just
but
FaceTime
alcoholism
Joe Theismann
runs
too?
rampant in sports, and it's not just coaches, it's not just players, it's media, it's everybody. And we're talking about how like no one really talks about this, but this thing is real, like, and it's pervasive.
No, and alcoholism, certainly in the case of Steve Sarkisian, into alcohol abuse, into the vague definitions of it, led us back to the topic we were there to discuss that day.
Dude, it was seamless.
Which happened to be James Harden.
And then next thing you know, like we have this great conversation about him and like the Kardashians and also the substance abuse in sports. And we posted, and 15 minutes later, said, you got to take it down. You guys are making fun of alcoholism. Like, no, we're not. We're actually, like, pointing out.
We're doing an artistic interpretation of a podcast about alcoholism.
Do you remember what happened later that day?
I do not.
Lamar Odom found on death's door. Right. And we had we talked about Kardashians. We talked about everything was.
Yes, fame and you numbing your senses because you're a celebrity trying to navigate this world that certainly now has been deeply covered about unhappiness and the NBA in its modern era.
Ahead of all of them on it. We were number 1.
So where is it?
And what do you get? You take it down. Oh, what was the third thing that got scrubbed?
The third thing was when, before we launched High Noon, we talked about doing a show.
Oh.
Me and Amin doing a TV show. And part of the premise was we would do the TV show in a certain way, Amin. Do you remember the pitch
Do
that we
not
had?
give it out because I'm still going to do that show. Damn it, I will do that show. If it's the last thing I do, that concept will live on, Pablo, with or without you.
We were going to do it backwards.
Can I finally tell my shark story without Mike Ryan,
Oh,
Tony
right.
toppering me with his plane getting struck by lightning? Because I really think that this is something I want to get off my chest. There's been a lot of weird aquatic animal activities. This is like the year of orcas and sharks.
Amin didn't know that I got hit by lightning.
Yeah,
so
can you
I-
tell me a little bit
No.
about that?
Yeah, I was on a plane
He's
that got hit by
fine.
lightning.
Everything's fine. He's here.
Okay.
It's okay.
How long did it take before you tweeted about it, Mike? What was the time?
Threaded about it, Chris.
I
I
don't know.
just-
I
I
didn't
just-
thread about it, but if you subscribe to me on Instagram
Did you
and
skeet
at
it?
Twitter, I didn't skeet it.
I just remember seeing. I'm a sub,
Felt
so
like
I
you-
saw
I will
the
not
tweet.
have someone that pays for a
Hubba
blue
hubba.
check come at me for my social
I don't pay
media
for a blue check.
habits.
Check my.
I
Check my.
You don't pay for a blue check?
No.
What? You
Sorry.
have a blue check?
Wait a
Sorry.
second.
You don't have a blue
Wait.
check?
Go check.
You,
blue
you
check.
stopped. You got
blue
you
check.
got you got bullied into stopping to pay.
No.
Yeah. No. Why'd
You
stop
can't
paying?
bully me, Mike.
I can't.
No.
Who did?
You can't bully
Who
me.
did?
Nobody.
You just decided that
On
it's
my
not
own
worth it.
volition. I
No
was like-
blue check anymore. Okay, because
Ryan Cortez
if
got
I'm
you.
being-
Please.
That
the
guy's been
last
in
guy.
hide-
The
Oh, I see
last
it
guy
now.
who can even try and bully.
That
I
guy's
see it
been
now.
in hiding.
Someone
by the
definitely
way.
bullied Tony.
If I'm being honest, I judge people with blue checks. Kevin Clark, why do you have a blue check? I get that some people do it.
I didn't
because
notice that Kevin has a
I
blue
noticed
check
it like
now.
last week, and I was shaken to my
Me too.
core.
But Kevin's a known
McDonald's,
Republican.
I see what you're doing.
There
He
you
has the
go.
haircut of a known Republican.
He looks like he's running a super PAC.
Young Republican.
Yeah, young Republican.
College young Republican.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense now. I didn't realize.
Who's Kevin Clark?
Anyways, I was at the beach last week, and this will not surprise anyone, but there was a shark attack that happened. Well, that part might surprise people. There was a shark attack that happened at the beach right after I got out of the water, but I missed it because I was on TikTok.
Wait, a shark attack?
A shark bit someone in the ocean right after I got out of the ocean, and I was on my towel drying off, scrolling TikTok, totally zoned out.
And people are running to someone's aid behind
There were
you?
whistles, there were ambulance sirens, there were people congregated around this person. I don't know if he's okay. I have seen one of the things that I have noticed the most in like the absence of local news being funded anymore is like little things like this that happen that normally you'd see a local news package on or see a local news story on, there's never follow-up on any of it anymore. You just see like a headline here and then that's it. There's no follow-up. So the local news report put out that a man was being treated for a shark attack. I have seen nothing since then, and it's been a week. So I hope he's okay. I do not know.
In this news report that I'm seeing, the man was a 60-year-old man bitten in waist-deep water.
Yes.
And within that story, they don't provide an update. They
That's
say
it.
no further
There's
update
no
was
update.
provided.
I don't think he was identified. I don't think he reached out to the newspaper to give his own, update. I don't think anyone from the news went to the hospital to try to identify him. I don't think there's any follow-up. I just don't think that that's a thing that happens anymore.
He's not a snitch.
So I was just sitting there scrolling.
He is
and
getting stitches, though.
that was kind of funny. Mike,
I mean, it's a pretty good laugh, but I don't know the condition of the man, so I don't feel like putting Hakeem next
That's
behind
fair.
him.
Let me just say right now, because I have I went to a wedding. This is like 5 years ago, whatever, and it was a beach wedding, and so I went in the water, and everyone was like, "There's sharks," and I said, famously, "We have an agreement." I just don't think sharks really mess with me. Like I think
Oh, God.
we're
What?
no, we have an agreement. Because here's the first of all,
Where was this agreement brokered? What convention did you broker this shark truce with?
I made eye contact with a shark once, and they let all the other ones know. They got a newsletter. But here's the deal, Jess. Like, sharks don't like human flesh. So I'm willing to bet dollars to donuts that this dude is all right. I mean, albeit like stitches and hospitalized and all that, like as all right.
I
as
heard
can
him
be.
screaming in pain.
Oh,
that was alarming.
You heard it?
I did hear
60-year-old
it.
man
And
screaming
and
in
did you
pain?
turn up the volume on your
Did you
No!
continue dancing?
You don't dance while you watch TikToks, old man. I was scrolling. That was me.
37, loving it.
I was scrolling, and my friend was like, "Hey, something's going on over there." And it was like 120 degrees with the heat index that day. So I was not about to like venture out from under my umbrella. I was very hot. And I was like, oh, wow, like, yeah, something is going on. And then I saw the EMTs and the ambulance and stuff come. And I was like, oh, like something serious is happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought maybe he stepped on a stingray or stepped on a shell and like cut his foot like Tony did in Hawaii that one time.
It was on a coral attack, by the way.
Yeah, and so I was thinking
Coral
like,
attack?
it's probably
Yeah,
not a
coral
shark.
attack.
Coral's alive.
The coral attacked you.
Correct.
It's alive.
It's alive. It's a living.
I know
being.
that. I know it's a living thing, but did the coral move?
It's like those things in Arizona, right? They throw the spikes at you. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the plant.
Yeah. Yeah, the coral
What?
did that to Tony.
There's a plant that like shoots stuff.
It was really a sea turtle's fault, to be honest. I was snorkeling, sea turtle. I went to go chase it. Turned around, coral got me.
Why are you chasing a
You
turtle?
were chasing
Dude.
the turtle.
Also,
Because
how
I
did
wanted
you
to
not
swim
catch
to
it?
watch it.
They're fast. They
No
swim
accountability.
Fly
fast.
in the water.
They are
no
fly.
accountability whatsoever.
For the coral, I agree.
Anyways, I was not able to follow up and see what happened. But my lasting memory of the shark attack is that they loaded this man into 2 Coast Guard pickup trucks. All the EMTs were sitting on the back of the pickup trucks. All these lifeguards were sitting on the back. And they drove off the beach. And a woman was running behind the trucks, chasing it off the beach. And I think she might have been a relative of the guy that got bitten by the shark.
no.
And I was like, why couldn't they give her a seat in the pickup truck? She was like sprinting after it. I felt so bad. And
How tall was this guy?
I'm not sure.
Because you put 2 pickup trucks back
He
to
wasn't
back.
He isn't
on both
pantomiming
pickup trucks, obviously.
The bed to bed on the pickup truck.
Ass
One guy
to ass dynamic of 2 pickup trucks.
I'll go in reverse. You go forward. On
Go
the
now,
count of
now,
three.
now. Speed up.
So, like, I don't know what type of shark did this, but
It had to have been little.
Yeah,
Not to negate this guy's injuries.
what's going on in there?
They thought that I said that the guy was laying across the bed of 2 pickup trucks
That's what you said. You did
simultaneously.
say that.
Yeah.
And
The
not
guy
that
in
there were
pickup
2 trucks. He was inside of one, and there was a second truck following it. They are now trying to explain how 2 trucks could ass-to-ass drive off the beach.
Guys, we should really
With
find
their
out if this
beds
person
touching.
is
One
okay.
goes in reverse,
He's fine.
one goes
Mike,
forward.
he's fine. We have an agreement.
We haven't
We
agreed.
have
I
an
do
agreement.
think,
I am
I
worried
do
about
think if
Amin's
he like
confidence
was
on
really,
this.
really hurt, there would have been a follow-up story.
Oh, it hurts like look, he's in great pain. and he's gonna have a scar and all those things. But again, sharks don't eat humans. They don't like the taste.
I
of
would
human
like to-
food.
I just saw a video of a shark eating a
There have
human
been multiple
in Egypt.
like fatal shark attacks this year in the U.S., haven't there?
I would like to nominate Amin as the worst possible lifeguard to be on a beach.
No, he'd be the best because the sharks aren't going to attack
Yeah,
him. He could
yeah.
just jump into the
You're
shark
fine.
pile. The frenzy.
I'd
Leave
be-
an agreement.
I'd be like, Kyle, come on, man. Come on, man.
Oh, is that Amin over there? Oh, all right. Never
yeah,
mind. My bad.
Exactly. I'm like, you're good, dude. You're good.
But in following all these IG accounts, because I do respect and fear the ocean.
I do too.
And,
We all should.
And when you follow all these regions in America have their own dedicated sites and they get aggregated. Like here we have Only in Dade.
Oh, I love Only in Dade.
Yeah, and
love
all
that.
There's a
Shout out to
Daily
them.
Loud for Egypt.
Yeah, well, there's stuff like that, but you realize that shark species,
Gotta lock in there.
shark
Soda Aliomi.
species that aren't necessarily known to be in specific regions are popping up. In Miami, there was a video that of a great white shark that went viral, and I don't know if this is so much cell phones and cell phone signals being readily
Cell
available.
phones or self-owns?
Cell phones.
That's like a Drake lyric.
Yeah.
Jersey.
I don't know exactly what it is changing
The boy.
water temperatures and whatnot, but
Champagne poppy.
it does seem like there are species showing up in strange places and they're a little bit more agitated.
That's what I'm saying.
Six God.
I've been going to this ocean my whole life. I have ocean bona fides, guys. I've never seen a shark there before.
Well, where I'm going with this is from @CubanMofo _.
Oh, shout out to that Cuban mofo.
Is that why you're no longer verified? Is because you switched Twitter handles, Tony?
That's my burner.
That's your burner. So credit to @CubanMofo. Off of Key Largo, he found a pod of orcas. Orcas.
Right.
Not known
Whoa.
Not
No,
known
no.
to
So
be
I-
anywhere near Florida.
So
That's
the
gotta
orca
be
thing,
bad, right?
I have orca bona fides.
There you
Okay,
go.
I've worn an orca suit on this show and
Sure
interviewed
did.
former Senator Jesse Ventura as he spouted 9/11 conspiracies
Yes, he
at
did.
me. I've also gone whale watching. I went whale watching on my actual bachelor party. That's how I get down. And I have had to go. I mean,
What?
not a metaphor, just actual orcas, literal orcas.
Yeah.
So
You got to be careful because Amin was about to make a
I
metaphor.
know. But I know where orcas are. I've had to go to the Pacific Northwest.
Did you just
the San Juan
cite
Islands?
whale watching one time?
I've gone multiple
Where'd
times.
you
Orca
go?
bona fides?
I've
you go
been whale
whale
watching
watching?
too.
The San Juan Islands
I
off
went
of
whale
Washington
watching
State.
once. Does that mean I have orca bona fides?
Me
If you've
too.
gone upwards of a half dozen times as I have.
What if you didn't see a
Newport,
whale at your
California.
bachelor party? Your friends would have been like, "What a loser!"
Get a new
Oregon coast.
Get a new excursion, by the way. You're just doing the same thing everywhere you go.
Once
You've
you've
seen
seen
one whale, you've seen
you've
them all.
seen them all. Hell yeah!
Atta
Fully
girl.
disagree.
I went whale watching once in Vancouver.
Yes,
And
I've
they-
been whale watching in Vancouver as well.
and we didn't see a killer whale, but they gave me a lifetime guarantee that I would see a killer whale. So I have this ticket that whenever I
gotta go.
fly from
We have
Miami
to go
back to
back.
Vancouver,
We
I
have
can
to go back.
take the same tour for free.
Once you've
Whale
seen one
watching.
blowhole,
Fully disagree.
My guy.
I mean, it's the same thing.
Have you seen a sperm whale?
That was a really good impression.
And it was like, here he comes. There's the water.
I haven't seen a sperm whale. I've seen a fully breaching humpback whale. I've seen orcas
Yeah,
on the
humpback.
ferry.
This is a long
out of
preamble.
Seattle.
Get to your observation about the Key Largo orcas.
The point is, orcas should not be there. And orcas, in fact, in the ecosystem of the ocean, are the things that, of course, great white sharks fear because orcas go for their livers.
Are they hunting great white sharks?
Yes.
But
Yes.
if the water is getting warmer and the waters are warmer around Florida, why are great white sharks coming to Florida, and why are orca also coming to hunt down in Florida?
So there are two reasons.
Wait, is the plural of orca?
There is a movie called Orca, which was Jaws but with an orca.
Did you
That's
see the preview for
terrifying.
the Meg 2?
I did see
Let's
that
not
movie.
conflate the glory
The
of
trench.
the whale.
Keep your eye on the ball here. Why are there orcas in Key Largo?
There are two possible reasons, okay? One of them explains why I've been seeing humpback whales in New York Harbor, which did not happen. That reason is
I thought that was COVID.
environmental cleanliness. The waters are better now. The second reason is the opposite. The environment is being destroyed. and no animals know where to be anymore.
Or they're billionaires seeking a tax haven.
It's the closest thing to Jurassic Park in real life. Come on.